I would never encourage you to set limitations on yourself. Truly, the sky's the limit.
Not done very carefully with a very wide understanding of the reality of the world can often lead people to having a feeling of superiority, where you look at how well you do based on your decisions compared to everyone else, despite the fact that they are literally an exception to the rule, and that's why their story is interesting. Their story helps to reinforce the myth.
The reason why they're exceptions to the rule, by the way, is because most people allow their circumstances and their environment to dictate their reality and what they think they can attain. Most people look around them and see poverty and think, okay, so this is all that is available to me. They do not believe that they can escape their reality through confidence within themselves, hard work, all of these things. And so that's what their reality ends up being. But something you'll always find in common with these people who start at the bottom and get to the top is from a very early stage, there was just a point where they believed that they can do it. That is the very first step to accomplishing anything, especially anything of significance. They believe that the person who says he can and the person who says he can are both right. So you must first believe that it is yours. As Jesus says in the Bible, pray that you will receive and believe that you've already received it, and it's pretty much yours.
If a person is successful, they must just be the best person, right? Makes sense. But this is a slippery road because it can lead to a point where you admire power for the sake of power. Not how the power is used or wielded. Is it used to make the world better? But rather just that they are big and powerful and they are winners.
And I look at China and I look at Russia. Who can we give a round of applause for Russia? Yes. Absolutely.
I've definitely seen it through certain commentators and people online, where sometimes there's just this kind of like, I don't know, like hero worship, this like subservience to power that leads them to just following and admiring these like strongman personalities. I think Andrew Tate is a very clear example of that. If you really look into him, it's hard to admire the things that he's done with his power, but I think the admiration for him is really about his persona, his boldness, and his power. But like the reason for this attitude, it can come from a perspective of a view of the world that is completely trapped in a myth. This myth being that our world rewards the people who are the best.
Playing victim is
it's an easy way out.
Yeah, it's a laziness.
It's a laziness.
What it is we worship power. Power by definition is work over change in time. This is all physics. This is all science. You know what I'm saying? So let's look at this. A definition of work formula, right? Work is force multiplied by displacement. Displacement is a change in position. So for instance, I have a car key right here. It goes over here. It has been displaced this distance. However, let's say I move it here and then move it right back to here. The displacement is 0 because it's right where it started. It has traveled this total distance. So let's say this is 1 meter. The distance it's traveled is 2 meters, but the displacement is 0, right? And so force is, of course, defined as mass times acceleration. So that is the energy required to move this over here. That's the force. And then you multiply that by the amount that I've moved it and you get work. To make it simplified, work, just think about what you do when you go to work. You're making shit happen, right? If you went to work all day and at the end of the day, when you clock out, shit is exactly the way it was when you walked in the door. Someone would say, what did you do all day? I thought you were working. Where is the evidence? And so that's the definition of work. Just think of work as getting shit done, right? Now let's look at the definition, the formula for power. See, it's so crazy how all this stuff, I was like, what's the application I'm going to have? I was a computer science major. What application is this going to have later in my life, going to physics classes in college before I dropped out and became a YouTuber, a successful YouTuber? Here it is. It's now being revealed, but I see how it applies not just to if you were to try and be an engineer, but just life in general. What I realize is people worship people who have a lot of power. And we're going to get into that. So what is power? Power is work over change in time. Change in time. That's what that means. A time or time elapsed. So for instance, someone who gets a lot of work done. So let's say put 100 where we have the W in a little bit of time. Let's say in 1 minute, right? We'll use these numbers. That would equal a power of 100. 100 over 1 is 100. Now, let's say it took him, the power would be 100. Let's say it took him 100 minutes to do it. In, being consistent here, 100 over 100 is 1. Meaning, if it takes you a long time to get the same amount of work done, you have less power, right? Someone who has a lot of power can get a lot done comparatively in a short period of time. And as humans, we worship that which is powerful. This is why humans create religions worshiping an all-powerful God. The idea that he is able to create the entire universe in a period of 7 days. He's all-powerful. That's what we worship. What we're really talking about is just the ability to get shit done. That which gets shit done. And God is the most get shit done entity in our, mind. And so when we see God reflected in humans, in people, in things that are powerful, things that we revere it. We have awe for it. It doesn't just stop at humans. It can, if an alien were to come and be powerful, even animals. That's why we look at beasts like lions and bears and eagles with a bit like almost an awe of reverence. They're sacred almost. The idea of killing a lion doesn't, that breaks your heart, needlessly killing a majestic beast compared to killing an ant or a rat or whatever. Why? Because this beast is powerful. It exerts its power over its environment and has authority, and the people fear it and revere it and respect it, right? And so it's the same thing with humans. That's why it's not a money thing necessarily. It's a power thing. That's what people revere. And people want to attain that. People want to be like Christ. People want to be like God. People want to be powerful. But most people do not understand how to become powerful within themselves. And so they look to external sources for power. And thus they turn to things like religion, but they also turn to idolizing humans who seem to have a lot of power. That's what's going on here. And so then people just listen and do whatever they tell them to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with another Zephyr reaction, bro. We got how Superman dismantled the Fraud League. Let's go.
So the scene starts and Superman's having the craziest hangover of all time. My boy, and while he's turned around, we got the Fraud League pulling up for smoke.
Bruh, there is a hierarchy, right?
Go hold you, this sequence of events is cold as hell. So the Flash starts cooking up, puts on the jets and gets to sprinting. And while he's running, peeps Superman. Oh, nah.
I feel like if the Flash was real and all of his achievements and all his powers stayed, had a continuity, he would be the most OP. There would be nobody that could beat him. There would be nobody that could beat him. There wouldn't be anybody. Not even Superman. Because if you have super speed, you have super strength, bro. That's just how the formulation of power, inertia, and works, bro. There should be... the Flash is quite literally outrun death. The Flash runs so fast, he could phase through solid objects, bro. There should be nothing that ever hits him. And he also thinks as fast as he moves. Because he has to. If you're going to move that fast, your brain has to know... to work that fast, to fire synapses that fast too. So there should be nothing Superman could do to him. If the best they could come to is a stalemate, the best. They always gotta cheese the Flash or write out the fact that he's basically a god. If you're a speedster, I don't think people take into consideration what other powers you gain just by being a speedster.
Speaking of, is faster than a speeding bullet feat since the dawn.
Nigga, a speeding bullet, bruh, faster than a speeding bullet is hilarious to Flash. Oh, just a speeding bullet? Don't all bullets speed, by the way? But a speeding bullet, nigga? A speeding bullet? I outran the concept of death. What, nigga? A speeding bullet? What the fuck is that to the Flash? What? If you know some of the achievements and things Flash has accomplished, really, what is this, man?
The art of aura farming. We're going to break down the science of aura from a metaphysical point of view. You'll know what I mean by the time we get through this video. Let's go.
Aura farming. The simple definition of this is doing random acts just for the sake of gaining aura. By this definition, aura farming is...
Most people think that their empowerment comes from outside of them, what other people think about them. Do other people like them? Do other people think they're cool? That's where most people think that their reputation comes from. Do you see how everything, you can literally boil everything down to this principle that I keep trying to hammer home for you guys to understand. Do not chase things. Just already have it, bro. Tell yourself you are chilling with a girl, you go to a party. The guy who fails is a dude who asks himself, what do I have to do to impress these girls? The guy with aura, he tells himself, all these girls are, how would I move if I knew that all these girls were already impressed by my presence? That's the difference.
And at my number 2 spot, I have to place the Jaden Smith incident. This has to be one of the worst attempts at aura farming.
Oh my god, like, can we talk about, like, the political and economic state of the world right now?
What does this mean, bro? That's not gonna linger on this one. I'm just gonna move on.
Yeah, again, trying to look smart, trying to look deep. The point is, don't try, bro. Just be the thing. Nigga, just do it, bro. Don't try to do it. Just do it. Now, here's the key. Power. It's all about the amount of power you have. Power, again, in the realm of physics is defined as work over a change in time. How effective you are. What you get done in how much time. The less time you get it done, the more power you have. Work over change in time. And so the reason why he's saying Vegeta loses aura when he gets defeated is because taking L is an automatic sign that you lack power. So winning automatically raises your aura. This is why dudes who may act corny, typically, who don't seem to be acting cool. He mentioned Speed earlier, saying Speed doesn't have that much aura, but he still does have a lot of cool factor, cool points. Why? Because he's perceived as a winner because of how successful he is when it comes to streaming, how much clout he has. So power can be perceived from external things like clout, money, wins, things of that nature. But internal aura, that comes from a sense of self-security, of just knowing that you are already him. That's the guy who has aura but drives a Civic. And not to take a shot at Civics, that's a perfectly fine and decent car, but you know what I'm saying, he's not driving a McLaren, he's not driving a Ferrari, he's not driving a Benz truck, he's driving a Civic, he's driving a regular Honda, but he still pull up with swagger and aura. That shit's coming from inside. And honestly, that's the better shit, because the internal swagger will manifest or yield the external shit.